Namaste and welcome to part 10 of book session on Autobiography of a Yogi. Yogananda said, "To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven." Now was the time for Yogananda to serve his purpose of spreading spiritual richness to thousands of seekers in the West. And how all this happened we will learn in today's video, friends. One day as Yogananda was meditating, he got a vision that many people from the West, they are looking at him intently. And Yogananda, he knew intuitively that the Lord was calling him to the West. And just then, at that time, he got an invitation to address a religious congress in America. He went to his Guru's ashram to seek his approval, and Swami Yukteshwar, he simply replied, "All doors are open for you. It is now or never." And Yogananda, he was happy to get an approval from his Guru. But the next big problem was that Yogananda, he was not well versed in communicating in English as he had never done this before. But his Guru assured Yogananda that his communication in English will never pose a hurdle for him. So this problem of Yogananda, it got solved by his Guru's blessings. And now was the time to break this news to his father. His father was not happy at first that his son will go to the far-off lands, and his father, he asked Yogananda that how would he arrange the finances to go to the West. And he replied that the Lord will surely finance him. And he said to his father that perhaps the Lord will convince you, that is his father, to help him. And his father, he sternly said that this will never happen. And friends, the very next day, surprisingly, his father handed him a check for a large amount, saying that he is giving this money not in his role as a father, but as a faithful disciple of Lahiri Mahasaya. And he also blessed Yogananda to do his duty well of spreading spiritual teachings in the West. And now so happy was Yogananda to receive the blessings of his Guru as well as his father. Yogananda knew that the West was known for materialism and for its modern ways, and swaying from one's path was easy there. And Yogananda, he did not want to go to the West with even a slightest doubt in his mind. And so he sat in meditation with an adamant determination that even if he dies while praying, he will not stop till he gets an assurance from God that he will not go astray from his path. That his only objective will always remain the same, that is to spread spiritual wisdom. Hours and hours passed by and no answer came. And Yogananda, he was heavily sobbing to an extent that if he cried just once more, his brain would split. And at that moment, friends, somebody knocked on the door. There was a young saint at the door, and Yogananda thought that it was Babaji. And the saint said, "Yes, I am Babaji." And Babaji said to Yogananda that the Heavenly Father has heard your prayers, and he has commanded me to tell you that you should follow the request of your Guru and go to America. And after that, friends, Babaji explained to Yogananda that he was the chosen one to spread the message of Kriya Yoga in the West. And Babaji also told him that everything was a part of the divine plan. His meeting with his Guru, Swami Yukteshwar, his getting his training as a disciple under his guidance, his meeting with the saints with miraculous powers, his going to the university, every tiny bit of it was a part of the divine plan. And now Yogananda, he understood everything, and he had this realization that everything was predestined by the Lord. Babaji then blessed Yogananda, and he vanished in a way just as he came. And Yogananda, he sat in meditation, and this time thanking God for not only answering his prayers, but also for blessing him with an opportunity to meet the deathless Guru, Babaji. And the time to depart to the West had finally arrived. Swami Yukteshwar advised Yogananda to forget that he was born among Hindus and not to adopt all the ways of the Americans, but rather take the best of both people. And he further said to Yogananda that he will be able to help anyone and everyone who will come to him with faith. These are such beautiful words of blessings from a Guru, friends. After all, it was not easy for Yogananda to leave behind everything here in India, his family, his Guru, his disciples, the schools that he was running, and he was going to a land where he did not know even a single person. And in August 1920, friends, Yogananda, he boarded the first passenger boat sailing for America after World War I. It was a 2-month-long journey, and during this time, one of the fellow passengers, he found out that a Swami named Yogananda, he was the Indian delegate to the Boston Congress, and he requested Yogananda to give a talk on the battle of life and how to fight it. And this was the first time Yogananda, he was to give a lecture, and that too in English, both of which he had never done before. And 10 minutes had already passed without Yogananda saying even a word. And the audience, they realized his predicament and began to laugh. Imagine, friends, standing before a huge crowd and not having any idea about the language to be used. And at that moment, Yogananda, he sent a silent prayer to his Guru, and instantly he heard a voice, "You can speak." And so Yogananda, he began to speak, and he spoke with such eloquence and intensity that it was already 45 minutes and the audience was still attentive and engrossed. This talk made Yogananda win several invitations to lecture in America, and the ship reached after 2 months near Boston, and there Yogananda, he delivered a powerful speech on the science of religion at the Boston Congress. 3 years passed by quickly, giving lectures, taking classes and writing books, and with the help of donations from some students, an American headquarters in Los Angeles, California was established. And friends, this was the same place which Yogananda had seen during his meditation. And so friends, this way Yogananda, who from his childhood just had this one objective, which was to find God. Not only did he find God, but he so beautifully served his purpose of his life, which was to spread spiritual wisdom to the West. It is said that when we walk on a soul's path, that is when we fulfill the purpose of our life, then the universe extends all its help and support to get past the hurdles and challenges that we may face. And we have seen that for going to the West, Yogananda, he had no money, but this problem got easily solved through his father. And how Yogananda on the ship, he had to deliver his first lecture, and that too in English, but this problem too got solved with the blessings of his Guru, and words came so easily to him. And friends, there are times in our lives too when we are not able to find solutions to our problems. It is because we as a physical body, we have limitations, but the divine is infinite. It knows no limits. Ask the Lord for help with sincerity and devotion at that time, and be assured that help will come. And this help could be in any form. We may find the strength to deal with the situation, or suddenly the situation may change for a good, or we may come across a solution that we may not have thought earlier. The possibilities are endless. We just need to be open and trust the divine. We now move forward with this journey and continue to learn about amazing people that Yogananda met in the West. Yogananda, he has dedicated this book to Luther Burbank. And friends, who is Luther Burbank? Let's find out. So Luther Burbank, he was a horticulturalist. He brought some new and amazing varieties of plants with the help of his creative crossbreeding. And one very interesting invention he made was that of a spineless cactus plant. Yes, a cactus plant without thorns. And how did he do this? By loving the plants, by assuring them that they have nothing to fear, by talking to them that they don't need defensive thorns for protection, and he will protect them. And thus in this way, friends, emerged the thornless cacti. Although a horticulturalist like him, they mainly use scientific approach for their work, but Luther worked differently. He not only felt an intimate communion with nature, but he also felt quite close to the infinite powers. And with this, He was not only able to heal sick plants, but he was also able to heal sick people. And the friendship between Yogananda and Luther Burbank, it grew, and they used to spend a lot of time together, and Yogananda had great reverence for him, and he used to call him an American saint. Although Luther Burbank, he was a man who had achieved great heights, but still Luther, he was always humble and modest. And Luther Burbank, friends, he left his physical body in the year 1926, and Luther, he had found his ikigai in his work. That is, when he used to work with plants, he used to become one with them. And friends, this was about Luther Burbank. And friends, like this, days, months and years passed in America, and one day while Yogananda was meditating, he received a message from his Guru Swami Yukteshwar, and this message was, "Return to India. I have waited for you patiently for 15 years. Soon I shall swim out of the body and on to the shining abode. Yogananda, come." And Yogananda, friends, he was so engrossed in spreading his Guru's teachings that it never came to him that 15 long years had already passed in the West. And then he decided that it was now time to go to India, and he promised his students in America that he will come back. And in 1935, Yogananda, along with 2 of his disciples, they sailed to India. And the ship sailed through the English Channel. And Yogananda, he had heard a lot about a lady named Teresa Neumann in Bavaria in Germany. And Yogananda, he thought that this was his only chance to meet this divine lady. And so Yogananda, he decided to take a halt in Germany. And now let's know who was Teresa Neumann. So Teresa Neumann, she was born on a Good Friday in 1898, and she got injured at the age of 20 in an accident in which she became blind and paralyzed. And then she miraculously regained her sight in 1923 through her prayers. And sometime later, her paralysis, it also disappeared, and she became her normal, healthy old self. And soon after, she abstained completely from food and drink, except for the daily intake of one small consecrated wafer, that is the wafer which has been blessed in the church. And friends, what happened was that from 1926, sacred wounds of Christ started appearing in her body. And every Friday she used to suffer in her own body what Christ did at the time of his crucifixion. So friends, Yogananda had to meet this lady, but unfortunately he had no address of her, and it took a lot of time to find her. And after days of searching, Yogananda finally met this divine lady. And Yogananda, he asked Teresa Neumann how was she able to live only with the small wafer, which was the size of a coin. And she replied that she lives by God's light. And Yogananda, friends, he was even more curious to learn how that was possible, and asked her if she could teach others to live without food and water. And she simply replied that it was not the wish of God that this be taught to the world. Of course, friends, we can imagine if this happens, then what will happen to the farmers, to the agriculture, food and beverage industry, and all the other industries that depend upon it. The whole economic system would collapse. Perhaps this would have been the reason why God wanted this to be a secret. And friends, with this we have learned that man's life is not dependent upon food, but on the vibratory cosmic energy that sustains the entire universe, the entire cosmos. And getting to know this, friends, it is quite astonishing that Teresa Neumann, who was born as a normal girl, she went on to become a messenger of God. She met with an accident which left her blind and paralyzed at a young age of 20. But her fervent prayers to the Lord not only healed her completely, but she also developed God's consciousness in her, that she started living her life only by the grace of God. And friends, we normally think that it's the food that sustains us, or the money and people that support our living. But friends, would we be able to live our life even for a single moment if God withdraws His life breath from us? Great people like Teresa Neumann and Luther Burbank, they come to us to teach us great lessons, to teach us that we should learn to go beyond our limitations. Teresa knew that this physical body is simply a tool to carry our work, and we will leave everything, including our physical bodies, when we pass on. And that is why, through her prayers, she happily took the ailments of others onto her own body, despite having so many wounds in her own body. She lived happily, joyously, bubbling with energy and joy. She showed no signs of suffering, as she knew very well that it was the body that was suffering, and she always used to live with an awareness that she was not her body. And so, friends, Teresa Neumann and Luther Burbank, they're perfect examples to teach us not to have any attachments in life, for we will leave everything behind and take only our deeds with us. And with this, friends, we close our today's video, and in the next video we will learn about Yogananda's return to India. And friends, it's time for the cosmic chant by Paramhansa Yogananda. And these cosmic chants, friends, they have divine vibrations that help uplift our consciousness, that help uplift our energies. And today's cosmic chant is, no birth, no death, no caste have I. I'll see you next week. Namaste.